Hey, up my ducks. How are we doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I just setting my timer. I have to have a timer to know when the music's going to stop. Hope everybody's doing okay. Let's do some hellos before it gets too busy. Lots of chatting in the chat, which is wonderful. First one in was our Rob. We've not seen Rob for a while. It says, been busy and had a lot of private things on, but I'm back. So it's nice to see you, Rob. Hello and welcome. Then Marilyn, lovely to see you too. We've got Cards of Light and we have David. Hello, David. We also have our Sandra. Hi, Sandra. And Tarot Trouble. Nice to see you. Linda's here. Hi, Linda. We have the lovely Golden. Hello, Golden. Giselle, my big sis, is here. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing okay. You and Keith. We have Robin. Hello, Robin. How are you doing? And then we have, just checking through. Oh, Fortune's Red. Lovely to see you. How are you? And we've got Maharet. Nice to see you, Maharet. And Lily Rose. Tom's here. Hi, Tom. Nice to see you as well. Don't want to miss anybody out. Tarot E Oracle. Nice to see you. Is your name Lily then? I think it is, isn't it? So, because you've added Lily to the end, so nice to see you. We have Elspeth and Sarah and let's see, Holly. Hello, Holly. Steph is here. We also have Thace and now Cheryl. How you doing, Cheryl? Trisha. Hello, Trisha. Fresh Petal Press. Hello. I've not seen you before, so hello and welcome. Make sure I'm catching everyone. Marita is here. Nice to see you. And Letty and Plants Gardens. Hello and welcome. Andreas, nice to see you. New to the channel and to tarot. I have a small collection. Well, welcome, Andreas. Nice to see you and have you with us. I'm sure your collection won't stay small for long. Let's see. Twiggelina, nice to see you. Nothing so strange. Hello. Michelle. Lots of people in, which is lovely. Kay. We have Ellie. And I think I've caught up. So hello and welcome. If I have missed you out, I do apologise. As you're trying to scroll and people are commenting, it jumps all the time. So you're trying to keep on top of it. I'm going to open the comments on my laptop as well. I'm going to take night mode off. I can see it better on daytime mode. I've got a cuppa. Have you all got a cuppa? I've actually got tea. Just a bog standard Yorkshire Gold. I know sometimes you just fancy just a brew. So yeah, so I've got Yorkshire Gold. What's everybody else having as their beverage? I bet lots of you are on the wine. Yay, that's my guy. What's that in relation to? Lavazza Decaf for Marilyn. Very nice. We have that one as well. That's one in the red packet, isn't it? I hope it's red, David. Oh, they're on about wine. Just a little water for Marita. Oh, that was a big jump. Didn't catch all the comments then. Cabernet Sauvignon, Rose Carver, Just Tea as well for Lily. Giselle's on the wine. Drinking Diet Mountain Dew, Barja Blast. Not heard of that one. Classic Builder's Tea for Trisha. Green tea with lemon flavour, and Cards of Light has coffee. So yeah, I just sometimes I don't want the whole rigmarole of making fresh tea for one, either using a brewdini or leaving it steep for so long. Sometimes you just want to chuck a tea bag in, put your coffee in. I have oat milk in, and away you go. So that's what I did tonight. Cafe au lait for me. Oh, nice. Tsar Nicholas Russian Caravan Tea. Coffee strong and sweet. What was that song? I like my man like I like my coffee. Hot, strong and sweet like toffee. Well, that takes me back. Some buttermint for Tom. Very nice. Do you get the Bird and Blend buttermint, Tom? What did Giselle say? Because Sandra's saying, Giselle. Sandra on coffee because she starts her wine for breakfast. Yep. I can't deny it. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. I'll be watching on Catch Up. I was just about to drive back home after my stepdad's funeral. Oh, was that today? I didn't realise they did them at weekends. I knew it was coming up, so I hope it went okay for you, Cheryl, and we'll catch up later. Yep, Bird and B end. That could be translated into something else, Tom. Yeah, their buttermint is divine. Is the only word for it. That was not me. I did not have wine for breakfast. That's a false rumor. Unless you're saying it was me just winding everybody up that he was having it for breakfast. Sandra, you protest too much. Yeah, so tonight I thought I would do a VR as a way of a discussion because it was you winding everybody up. Because the lovely Cathy from Nothing So Strange, and she's here in the chat, I noticed as well, has started a channel. So I am going to give a shout out. This is the channel, Nothing So Strange, and found her from doing the tag, and fantastic. I really enjoyed listening to her. And yesterday, when she did this this video, it's her first time facing a camera, and she's a natural. And Cathy has a really cool shop as well. When I say shop, I mean a physical brick and mortar shop with all manner of curiosities in there. And she does on her channel a full walk around of her shop and really takes the time showing everything in there. And I was like, oh, I could lose myself in that shop. I really could. So please do give Cathy from Nothing So Strange a follow. I really love giving shout outs to brand new channels to give them that kickstart as well. Did I just see our Chris is here as well? Nice to see you, Chris. So yeah, Cathy from Nothing So Strange. And the video that I saw yesterday, I think it was yesterday. It was yesterday. I left a comment saying, I think I'm going to respond to this in cuppa ketchup and cards, and subbed. Ah, that's lovely, because she poses some questions as a new content creator, asking content creators who have been around a while how they find the balance between creating content, watching content, what their favorite content is to make, what their favorite content is to watch, and how that might have changed over time. So I thought it might be fun. Oh, and there's brilliant mods. Sandra and Giselle both posting links as well. That makes it really easy for you to be able to find the channel. But yeah, Nothing So Strange. It was winding everyone up. I went to the Terror exhibition. I'm going next week. Okay, so now I'll try wherever possible not to take forever to answer the prompts, but at the same time, I don't want to rush them. And play along as well. If you're in the chat and you've got some tips and advice for Cathy as a new content creator, then share your insights as well. And I know there's lots of people in here. There's Sandra, there's Robin, there's Giselle, there's Chris, who have been around quite a while, a number of years, that may be able to give some advice and guidance, as well as others that are in the chat as well. So the first prompt is, how much time do you spend making your own content versus watching the content of other people? And that's quite an interesting one. And I've jotted some notes. I will be looking to my side for that. Don't know if my comments are still scrolling, but I want to try and catch people's responses as well. So I think I'm going to answer the second part first, which is about how much time do I spend watching content. I feel old now. And I can honestly say that I spend more time on YouTube than I do watching regular TV or any other platform. Since discovering YouTube, I certainly buy a lot less DVDs, because that was something. I've got a walk-in closet and there's about 500 DVDs in there, and it's my library, and it's very rare now I buy one. I used to buy a couple a week because I don't have time to watch them. But the way it works for me in terms of how much time I spend watching, it would depend, really. If there's like a series on Netflix or something that I'm streaming and I want to watch, then maybe in that week there'll be less time watching. However, I do have a bit of a routine. So when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is I get up. My alarm goes off at 5:30. I get up, I have a shower, do all the usual stuff, brush my teeth, everything like that. And then you're going to think, oh, you lazy slut. I get back into bed. Not, to settle down and go back to sleep. I get up, I shower, but I get back into bed. If it's the weekend, I'll have a cuppa. If it's in the week, I won't, because I grab a coffee on my way to work. And I will spend anywhere between 20 and 30 minutes watching something. Okay, so that will take me to about 6:30. Then at 6:30, I come through to here, and that's where I will do my card pulls for the day, which is my intention spread, which I've mentioned many times. In the morning, because I'm limited for time, I will look what's been uploaded overnight, and if there's something there that is around 20 to 30 minutes, I'll probably watch it. If there is something that's a bit longer, it goes into my watch later list. So, so that's kind of how the morning. It will depend on how long the video is. If I see something, I think, oh, I really want to watch that. I'm the sort of person that can't watch half of it and then stop it and then come back to it later in the night. I want to watch the whole thing, so it will tend to go into my watch later list. And then when I get home in the evenings, I usually spend about 3 hours on YouTube. So usually between 6 and 9. So I get back into the centre about 5 o'clock. I'll do a bit of food shopping. I'm back up here for about 5:30. I'll start preparing something to eat. And then I will watch for around 3 hours. Usually things that are in my watch later, or if there's something that's come in during the day, like if a friend has uploaded something, then I think, oh, I'll watch that. So anywhere between 2 to 3 hours, usually between 6 and 9. And then around 9 o'clock, I will make a drink and I'll watch something that's either on Netflix, or if there's a drama on TV, or if it's a series like The Traitors or something like that, then I'll watch that. And I usually go to bed anywhere around 10:30 and 11. So I guess I watch around 3.5 hours on a weekday. Now on a weekend, particularly a Sunday, because Saturdays I get up, I go out, I meet my friend, we walk the dogs, we have a coffee. I'm usually back here for about 8:30 in the morning. But I do things on a Saturday like tidying up, bit of shopping in town, perhaps meet another friend in town. I'll spend some time on a Saturday afternoon watching some videos. And then usually if I'm not out on a Sunday where I'll vlog or something, then I'll tend to try and clear my watch later list that I haven't got around to watching. Little confession, and this isn't a negative in any way, but sometimes if I feel that there's a lot of videos I've got to get through, or there might be longer videos than usual, I will watch it at a higher speed because you can get through more content then. So particularly when there are people who perhaps take the time and talk quite slowly, then usually the best setting for me is 1.5 times 1.5. And it just sounds like they're talking a little bit faster like this, but it means that an hour video you can get through in 45 minutes. If you watch it on times 2, it can be 2. But then obviously times 2, an hour video takes 30 minutes. Do I sound good in high speed, little bro? I'm not mentioning any names of who I'm watching in high speed. But yeah. And then there are some lives that I go to as well. So that will take up however long that live lasts for. I'd imagine I'm really camp 1.5. Well, there are a couple of channels, and again, no names, where actually on 1.5 actually sound quite normal. There are others who, if you speed up, it's really, really fast. Kelly Bear is one that I can't speed up because she talks quite fast anyway. So putting that on ×2 is, yeah, it's too much for me. But that's so I can get through the content. So long answer, very short. I can spend up to, and I worked it out earlier, 10 hours on average a week. No, that's not right. Ignore me. I've jumped ahead. 10 hours of what I do content. It's around 20 hours a week for watching. Okay. And I will go back to some comments but if you do want me to see your comment, please put it in capitals, because I'm going to answer the second part before I pause and then go on to the other. So when it comes to how much time I spend recording and creating content, not as much time, but again, it will depend on how many videos I have to make. And by have to make, I mean if I've got a contract in place whereby I've agreed to review a deck. And somebody like Cheryl will just say when she sends them, whenever you can do them, there's no issues or pressures at all. Other people who might be from a publishers will say, we're sending this deck, can you review it? Let us know when you've done it and all that sort of thing. So there is some obligations there. And then also sometimes, so if for instance, like at the moment, we did Spotlight last week, I've still got 3 decks to do, but another deck came in. It might be unfair for somebody who's about to launch on Kickstarter or something like that for them to have to wait a week for me to get through them all. And there was about a month or so ago, I had about 4 or 5 decks from Destiny, about 9 decks from Cheryl, and then some others were sent that I'd been waiting for. And I had to be fair by making sure everybody, Chris, can Simon do 1.5 on his lives? Yeah, get your own back time. You can if you're watching it back. So for those of you who aren't content creators, I'll just give you a little bit of background. So first of all, obviously you've got to think about what content it is. So if you're doing an unboxing and walkthrough, then it's just the time is setting the scene. So I have things like, getting my arm clamped to the desk, that sort of thing, getting everything right, the setup right, making sure the space is clear. Or if I'm doing a vlog, then obviously I'm going to the place. If I've agreed to interview somebody, it's about doing research about that person. That can take up the most time. So the last person I interviewed, I think it was Scylla Conway, was the last person I did an actual interview on. So obviously it's researching everything that Scylla's done, finding out a little bit about her. I remember when I interviewed Susan Wands, you had to do research into the books that she's written, the fact that she'd been on Broadway, what sort of production she was in, and all that sort of stuff. So a bit of research about them. Obviously then you've got to record your content. And that, some people, and I really admire it, Diane Brennan is somebody I admire because just one take, I'd love to be able to do that, but I make a lot of mistakes. I get tongue-tied. I'm forever switching it off, doing it again, and then that means you've got a lot of little bits of film that you've then got to stitch together and make sure those mistakes don't show, because if you have to remember where they were. Now, if I make a mistake, what I learned to do very early on is I would stop the thing, because my brain doesn't allow me to, hold those sort of memories. And in the past, if I make a mistake, I used to pause and then say it again and think, I'll just edit that out. Well, the number of times I didn't edit it out. So now I always make a mental note, stop the filming start again. So you have the recording, which can take a long time. So you might see 20 minutes of footage, but that might have taken 40 minutes to actually do because there's been mistakes and I've had to stop and restart. Then you've got your editing to do. So you've got to edit it together. I always like some background music when I'm showing the cards. So you've got to make sure that that starts at the right place and ends at the right place. And I soon learned as well that do all your editing and stitching together before you add your music. Because if you add your music and then you're snipping away, the music will start in a different place and end in a different place. So these are the things you just pick up as you go along by making mistakes. So then there's obviously the downloading and uploading. So because I use iMovies, I then have to, once I've got the finished product and I've put my opening sequence in, my ending sequence in, if I've got to put any words in. So for instance, if I'm promoting one of Cheryl's deck, I put the Hermit's Code 10 in and I have to put that in the right place for when I'm pointing. So it takes a while. And I can always remember Chris is in the chat. He said to me a few months ago, but you don't edit your videos. And I was like, I wish I didn't edit my videos. So then you have to download from iMovies to your device, and then you have to upload from your device onto YouTube. So it could take a couple of hours to do a 20-minute video. And that's once you're getting quite proficient in doing them as well. So again, this week I've done a video every day bar yesterday. I just didn't have it in me last night. I've still got 3 decks to do for Cheryl, but it had been a really, really grueling week and I'd done a video every single day. So last night just got home and I thought I just need to chill out tonight. I haven't got it in me to do it. And sometimes you get like that where you just don't have it in you. But over the last couple of months, there's probably been a video most days. Now, some people like that. Other people find that too much because, like what I've just said about having a watch later list, sometimes you can think, oh gosh. So it's also good sometimes to put a pause in every so often. Because you can, there's that old adage, isn't there? Familiarity breeds contempt. If you're there all the time, but then sometimes I feel obligated to do that. And that's on me, not on the people who. So it's an average of 10 hours a week creating content. And then I would add in the uploading and everything on top of that. And then obviously there's a live each Saturday. This doesn't take a lot. Probably about 2 hours before I'll set it all up. I'll upload it to say it's going live so it appears on the channel. I'm not one of these people who will schedule something a week in advance. I think unless people actually remind me, it gets lost in your kind of timeline. So I've always done mine on the day of. And when I have interviewed people in the past or I've done collaborations, they will say, oh, I've not had a link yet. And I'll say, no, it will come a couple of hours before because, and when you do have a regular slot like I do, people such as your good selves who turn up week in, week out, kind of rely and know when that time is happening anyway. But so I'll just put it out a couple of hours before. And then these can take anywhere between an hour and a half. The beauty of lives is there's no editing. It is what it is. And you don't have to upload. As soon as I switch off, it starts doing all its own uploading and everything. So that's the good thing about a live. Just get a bit of a break when you feel like it. It looks like that was part of something else. Have you ever thought about scheduling your videos to become available on a certain day? I have done that in the past, Chris, yeah. So for instance, on a Wednesday evening, I'm not here. Well, I am here, but I go to a Slimming World group, as you know. So on a Tuesday, I'll very often record 2, and then one will go up, and then the other I'll schedule to go up the next day at 7 p.m. So when you see a video drop and it's on a Wednesday, it's been recorded the day before. And I want it to feel genuine. So I will say, because I always start my videos, don't I? I'll probably say, what day are we on? Or happy weekend, or happy Friday, everyone. And then on Wednesday, I'll often say, right, we're at the midway point. It's the turn of the week. But really, it's Tuesday in a lot of cases, unless I'm not going for whatever reason. So yeah. So that's the answer to the first one. I spend more time on YouTube than on TV or any other platform. How much time do I spend with the recording, editing, preparing? An average of around 10 hours a week creating content. And then in terms of how much I watch, in the mornings, I only can really watch between 20 and 30 minutes. The rest go to watch later. And then in the evenings, probably about 3 hours a night. So that's 15 hours in the week. And then around 5 hours at the weekend, so around 20 hours. My TV does not go on at all at the weekend unless, and by TV I mean watching the channels, like what we used to call the terrestrial channels, BBC One, 2, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5. I don't put the TV on at all unless, on Saturday nights I'm here, unless I'm going to stick a film on. And that's either going to YouTube and I might watch a film. Sometimes if I've caught up with, did I say YouTube? I meant Netflix, sorry. Sometimes if I've caught up with YouTube and it's a Sunday afternoon, I'll put Netflix on and I'll find something to watch. I do like a Sunday afternoon film, but I don't always get to do that. So basically, YouTube is my life, people. Okay, let's see if there's any comments that you wanted me to see. It's been scrolling fast, so I'll only look for capitals or where I've been tagged. And I can't see. Yeah, Giselle was the last person to tag me saying, "Do I sound good in high speed?" I can see Dan Aykroyd in SNL, Saturday Night Live, saying, "Simon, you lazy slut." I can't remember why. Because I said I got back into bed in the mornings. Yeah, I felt like real decadence at first, but I was like, do you know what? I don't have to leave here till about 7:15 if I'm working in the city. If I'm going to another site, I have to leave earlier. But if I'm leaving, I'll leave here about 7:15, go across the road, pick up a coffee, and I'm at my desk for past. So I do try and catch up. Any other comments? Oh, I thought you did edit, Giselle, because very often you'll have one video, but it'll be different, either different days or different genres together. So you might do, I remember you used to do like, you'll be starting off showing some sewing and then it might go to your garden or, so have you stopped doing all them now? I come in spurts. Chris's comment about scheduling the lives. Care Bear says, I'm usually live anywhere from 2 to 8 hours a week. Wow. Films for me are a big time investment. Yeah, exactly. It can be, Robin. That is edited. Giselle said, I don't edit, I just string it together. That is editing though, isn't it? But do you mean like not putting words on and music and adding things in? what do you use to edit? Is there a program? I use iMovies because I'm an Apple head. I have iPhone, I have iPads, I'm talking to you on a MacBook, so it makes sense for me just to use iMovies, and I've got used to it, so it's very easy to drop all your bits in and then make sure the transition between them's right and that sort of thing. I usually start off with the camera quite high up, and then I'll say, let's bring the camera down to get a good close up of the cards. So that's another bit that has to stream together. I don't watch TV often. I avoid the toxic news. Yeah, news doesn't go on anymore in this apartment. A lot of time, I have difficulty even editing my comments as they come out of my mouth. Simon, my average is not as much as last year when I watched all 7 years of your content in 2 weeks. I just don't know how you did that. I don't know how many videos I've got up now. If anybody wants to look, feel free. I think it's in the About section. But last time I looked, it was something like 1,500 videos. And you watched 7 years worth in 2 weeks. Giselle says, I don't know how to do all the fancy Simon and crap with tech. I'm sure you're not. Simon, you gave me just a great idea to record a video for my viewers about my work to show people how much time it all takes. Thank you. Brilliant. That's brilliant. Let me go to channel. Let's have a look for that. Oh, I am subscribed. But I'll look out for that then. Apparently I do edit. There you are, you see. Twigger says, I do the same, Simon. I work full-time from home and take my breakfast back to bed and watch a bit of YouTube before starting work. I spend about 45 minutes back in bed every morning. It's lovely, isn't it? I think we should all set our alarms a little bit earlier, shower, and then get back into bed for half an hour. Just having that last little bit of luxury before your day starts. Luxury, I mean, getting back into bed. I thought about creating content, but it seems like so much work. I really appreciate how everyone... Yeah, it can be in the beginning, but I think you soon get into... Let's take that. There's a comment. Let's see what... Simon knows I'm rubbish. He did my intro for me. You're not rubbish. You're not rubbish. And you edit. So... I thought about doing a channel, but I can't think I could do more or better than what there is. It's excellent. Everybody's got a voice, David. Seriously, everybody. I've often said to people over the years, if you get that urge, like, I won't mind doing a channel, do it. And I think, and I hear a lot of people who are content creators saying, I decided not to review that deck because it's been reviewed by lots of other people. And I think, I'm interested in what you've got to say, you know? And not everybody's subscribed to everybody. So I would always say, if you want to start a channel, start it, because you attract people that feel that they have a kinship or a connection with you. So I know the channels and the people that I'm interested in, and I will watch 3 or 4 walkthroughs of the same deck before I decide to purchase. And I do that purposely now because I used to be very impulsive, as people like Sandra will know. I'll be like, oh, I need that. Now it goes into a wish list and I will watch 1 or 2 walkthroughs. The frustrating thing is the decks I've chosen for April, which when they arrive, I'll of course share my deck for next month. Hardly any walkthroughs of it, but what I have seen, I really like, and it's been on my wish list a year. So it was time. Go on, David. We defo want to hear what you think about stuff. Absolutely. David, you're getting lots of people saying do it. Let us know as well, and I can give you a shout out when you do it. Sam said do. Okay, prompt 2. Are we ready to? There's only 3. So the second one is that Cathy asked us around, and the tag, by the way, is called #TarotTube Creator Balance. It is in the title. If anybody else wants to play along. So she's talking about, and they're all about content and balancing. So favorites to make in terms of what you really enjoy making, and the balance for that is what you enjoy watching. Are they aligned, or are they completely different, or is it a mix of either? So in terms of favorites to make, I had to really sit and think about this because I can get sometimes a little bit overwhelmed if there's a lot of decks to review, because I feel pressure, like I said earlier, to do it. But I think my favorites are when I get to meet people and interview them. I really enjoy that. I haven't done as many of them recently as I used to do. I have actually interviewed over 100 people because I put them into a playlist. However, there won't be 100 videos there now because people that I've interviewed in the past are no longer have content up. So once they take their content down, that video is gone. But I used to, going back probably 5 or 6 years ago, would have a waiting list of people who, because I didn't want to just interview every single week. I wanted the balance of having like these discussions, so a couple of catch up and then a catching up with. So I used to try and schedule one a month to interview people, and I really liked that. I loved the format. I loved we play a game at the end like paper and plastic. Those of you remember that, but I really enjoyed doing them, and it is something that I would like to do more of. So if there are people out there who obviously, you know, because it's introducing other content creators, you know, and you've not been on before, or you've been on before but things have changed, then you know, let me know and we will schedule some in. I also really enjoyed the vlogs. And I know I talked about this a couple of weeks ago about whether I was contemplating setting up a separate channel for just vlogs. And by vlogs, I mean, you know, taking you to places. And again, there's quite a lot of them built up now, because when we had, it might not just be places of interest in the UK, but there's lots of vlogs for when, like, around my own city, like when we went into lockdown, and how it was completely deserted, or, you know, my holidays and things like that. So I really enjoyed doing them. And in the last year or so, we've with a couple of other friends, we've been going each month to a different place, and I've enjoyed making content about that as well. The feedback I got a lot of comments afterwards saying, "Oh, please, A, don't stop doing vlogs," which I won't, and B, people were saying, "No, just keep it up on your channel. You know, it doesn't have to just be about tarot. It can be a whole manner of things." You know, and even though the channel's called The Hermit's Cave, there's that link to tarot through the hermit, but I'm a hermit. This is my cave. So it's aspects of my life as well. So I've decided to continue doing them and keep them on this channel rather than setting up a separate one. I also really enjoy when I've made a purchase on a new deck, because particularly now, they're not impulse buys. It's become really expensive to buy from outside of the UK and to get them here with the taxes and everything that's on there now. So I get very excited when I've made a purchase, and I don't make more than one a month. And I think last year was probably, as in 2024, the year that I spent the least since I've had a channel on decks. But I am fortunate. I am very fortunate to be sent them as well. A lot I pass on, because if I'm sent them and they don't jive with me, I'm not just going to sit having them on a shelf gathering dust. So I will pass them on. But for me to purchase a deck now, it's usually an independently produced deck, and there's been a lot of thought and lots of watching content about them. So I get a buzz out of sharing something that I've made a conscious decision to buy and invest in. So I enjoy those as well. So interviews, vlogs, and new purchases, is my content I enjoy. But the ultimate content is this, what we're doing right now. I really look forward to my Saturdays. I will get to a certain point in the afternoon, I'm looking at my watch thinking, oh, not long now, because this is more than just making content. When I'm here on a Saturday doing a cup of catch up and cards, this is my connection to the community, the online tarot community. And as daft as it may sound, but you have to understand my background as somebody who was part of a religion within my family, and being part of an organization that became a big part of your life. When you've when you're removed from that, whether you've been removed or you remove yourself from that, you do have that gaping hole. And I tried to fill that by going to becoming a Buddhist and going to Buddhist centers, which I enjoyed, or, lots of different things I've explored. And I've said it before, but it was a long time ago, finding this community is my church, if you like, my congregation. And I know I'm kind of using Christian references, but that was my past. And I love the fact that we're from all over the globe coming together for an hour and a half a week, interacting, because it's not just me sitting here talking. I can see that you're all chatting with each other, and you're chatting with me, and I chat back. And I think that's a really healthy thing. And not everybody gets it. Nobody thinks it's healthy. And don't get me wrong, there are times where things have gone a little bit south and you think, but 99.9% of the time, being part of this community and seeing the same names pop in every week, or even when new people pop in. We've had a couple of people today saying, one, I said, oh, I've not seen you before, welcome. Or somebody saying, oh, this is my first time. I remember my first time in these kind of lives, and it's something really special. So yeah, favorite content to make. In terms of pre-recorded, I went through that, but my ultimate favorite is this that we have. And I think it's really special. It's certainly special for me. I know it's special for many of you, because you've sent me messages over the years saying that you really enjoy it and you look forward to it. And sometimes for some of you, I know it's the only opportunity you get to interact with people. So that's the first part, but I can see a lot of comments. I'm going to pause after the first part before I talk about what I enjoy to watch, just to see if there are tagged comments. I'll go back quite a bit to where yes, I saw that one. So let's see where we're up to. This is all asking David to do a channel. That's true what Janine says. David, it just takes time to build confidence and taking the first step. Pressing that record button for the first time is the big thing. But once you've done it, each time gets a little bit easier. Robin says, I think maintaining a channel is a live and learn process of adjustment and reinvention. So many are burnt out and dropped away. It can be daunting. Yeah, it can. And, persistence is key. It really is. Nothing happens overnight. Sometimes it can be a very slow burn. Sandra says, I make mostly tarot content and some witchy. I like watching TarotTube, but also BookTube and ASMR videos. The interviews are great. Toilet roll over. That must have been when I was on about the they said truth or dare. Then we best not start playing truth or dare, or should we? No. The either game. I love your traveling vlogs. They've actually some of my favorites of your videos. Thank you, Tricia. Simon, I think your Saturdays are a great way to balance the pressures of your reviews, an impromptu pressure release valve. Yeah, I agree. As are the vlogs as well. Simon, I love the interviews you do, and the vlogs are wonderful. Chris said, I've toyed with the idea of setting up a second channel for math tutoring stuff. I just can't be arsed, though. Yeah. Have you never thought about doing vlogs? I'd love to see. I know I remember one. Oh, no, I don't know if it was a video. It might have been a glide. I was going to say, I remember one where he was walking home through the city, but thinking about it, that might have been just a video to me through glide. I think he'd been out with some friends and he was walking home talking. And in my mind, then I thought, oh, that's a vlog that is done. But yeah, I'd love to see more of Scotland. Love your vlogs. The UK has been on my bucket list to visit for a long time. I don't see overseas travel happening for me in the near future. Oh, you never know, Holly, but yeah, I'm glad you enjoy them. This community feels like home. CC&C is a lovely, cozy community. I'm pleased that everybody enjoys it. Just looking for capitals. Okay, so the second part of the question is what I like to watch. So, gosh, obviously, my preference are tarot channels. Although there's not as much content as there used to be. I think it goes in peaks and troughs. There was, when I first found the community, there wasn't a lot of tarot content at all. Perhaps a handful of content creators. And then not long after I started, there just seemed to be a lot of content creators, some not even around anymore. When I first started, I think the same month I started, like Jennifer Ball started her channel, and she doesn't make content now. But again, I've noticed that there's not as much. There's lots of lives. I think lives are responsible for a lot of pre-recorded videos taking a dip, or the amount of pre-recorded videos taking a dip, because it's easier. As I said, it's easier to go live. When I found the community, there was only, as far as I'm aware, there was only two. There was Kelly at the Truth in Story, and oh gosh, her name has just gone out of my head. Arwen Lynch was interviewing people. She interviewed me, and I'd only had a channel for about three or 4 months back in 2017, and that was the only lives that. It wasn't easy to go live like it is now with StreamYard and things like that. It was Google Hangouts, and it was quite a pain to set up. Now it's very easy. So yeah, I do think that there's a decline in, particularly in pre-recorded videos, but that's obviously what I like to watch. I also really like to watch podcasts. Now you might think, watching a podcast, but if I don't know where you find podcasts, other than BBC, not iPlayer, BBC Sounds has a podcast on there, and that's where I discovered Uncanny. But I don't know where people go to find podcasts. But YouTube tend to show podcasts as well. So a couple that I really enjoy is, there's one called, it's quite a new one. It's called Making a Scene, and it's David Williams and Matt Lucas, who did Little Britain years ago, and they do 2 videos a week. One is Making a Scene, which is where they invite somebody on, and the idea is they tell their life story in 3 acts. So it's like who would play you? What are the 3 major points in your life? That would be the first, second, and third act. How would it end? What would the film of your life be called? And it's really funny because they're all comedians, obviously. So I enjoy that. And then the second one that they do is You Can't Ask Me That, but they ask people to send them in questions that you would say, oh, you can't ask me that. And they will answer them. And I really enjoy that. It's light relief. It's times are heavy at the minute. So any comedy I can get my hands on, I'll watch. So Making a Scene. There's also one called Dish. Now, I'm not into cooking channels or anything like that, but Dish is different. It's Dish, and it's sponsored by Waitrose, but it's Angela Hartnett, who's a Michelin star chef. She's got restaurants in London. She used to work for Gordon Ramsay. She was on Hell's Kitchen when that was shown. And Nick Grimshaw, who's a radio DJ. And the 2 of them together will bring a guest on, and they will cook for them. Well, Angela will cook for them, and Nick will interview them, and then they'll eat their food together, and they'll say what they enjoy. But they also get to be interviewed of all manner of things, and I like interviews, so that's quite enjoyable. I like that. So they're a couple of podcasts. I also like some political podcasts, but I can get overwhelmed by them, particularly if the political climate isn't great. But one that I really like is called The Rest is Politics. And it's Emily Maitlis, who famously interviewed Prince Andrew at the height of the Epstein scandal. She left mainstream broadcasting, and she is online, and she works with a couple of others, but The Rest is Politics. And they're not biased. The problem we have now is, depending on what channel or what news station you're watching, they will have a political bias. So more people are finding their news sources from other places. And I like The Rest is Politics because they don't lean to the right or the left. They weigh it up, and they've got different people that do put tips in for podcasts, but if they're on YouTube, all the better. And then just for humour, I like Randy Rainbow when he does a spoof song. It just lightens the pressure sometimes watching Randy Rainbow. Yeah, so there's some that I like around politics. I love to watch vlogs. So particularly, I like to watch US folk discovering the UK. And I mentioned them before. The Magic Geekdom, I really enjoy watching their channel. I also like Venture Me. That's very British, though. That is a British person going around the UK, and they tend to go to places like theme parks and or somewhere that's been deserted, that sort of thing. And Walk With Me Tim. I like Walk With Me Tim as well, but how he funds, he goes to like in Dubai's only 7-star hotel, and he flew in one of the first class on British Airways where you get your own pods, and then they did one on Emirates, and I think the flight was something like £5,000. I'm like, oh my gosh. But just seeing how the other half can live. So I like watching that. Of course, I love watching my friends. So people that are in the chat, when they upload a video, I always add it to my watch later. What I will say is, as well, if I don't leave a comment, it's not because I've not watched your video. I know you won't know then, but a lot of the times, because of time difference and things, sometimes I will listen to them or watch them at night. So I've got a little stand and I'll pop it on, I'll get into bed and I'll watch it, but I can't always type then because I'm in bed. But I do watch a lot, as I've mentioned. I love discovering new channels. And that's why I do the shout outs and things like that. And it's one of the reasons why every so often I'll come up with a tag, because using a tag, or I'll follow somebody else's tag, using a tag will take you to channels that you perhaps aren't familiar with. Case in point, Nothing So Strange, who's here. So, and if I find them and I enjoy them, then of course I'm going to subscribe. I like reaction videos. Reacting to My Roots, which is Steve and Lindsay, again in the UK. He did his DNA ancestry DNA thing, and he realized he was from the UK and Ireland, his roots. So he then, wanted to know all about the UK, and he was reacting to things, and then he's brought his wife in, and and JDP, is it JDP? JPS. The only thing about JPS is it's always plugging his Patreon, and I'm like, oh gosh. And I know they're making a living out of it, but it's frustrating. I like to watch fountain pen videos because stationery is a thing that I love. My favorite is the Goulet Pen Company, Brian Goulet. And then I don't watch the news, but I am subscribed to channels like Good Morning Britain, because they just give you segments, and I'll scroll through, and if there's something I don't want to see, I won't watch it. But there might be an interesting discussion, and I think I'm going to watch that. So I can select bits of the news that I want to see. And that's prompt 2 about favorite to make, and favorites to watch. Let's have a look at some more comments. We're already at 8:05. The third one actually won't take us as long to answer. Okay, so let's see some of the things that you like to watch. Yes, exactly, Simon. This space and time has become part of my Saturday routine, like a ritual that I look forward to every week. Oh, thank you, Thace. Church means community drawn out of the world. I like that. Lurker here, who has watched your channel since you began and really enjoy it. You helped me hang in there during the pandemic. Well, thank you, Thought Thingy, and thank you for, even though you're a lurker, and I know it can take a lot sometimes to post a comment, so I appreciate you doing that and sharing that with us. Yeah, don't wait for the perfect moment; it will never come. If I ever do go to the UK, there are so many in this community that I'd love to have a cuppa with. Simon, Giselle, Sandra, Kelly Bear, to name a few. I'd love it, Holly. I'd love it. I'd love to show you around Nottingham. I'd love to buy you a coffee. Yeah, it'd be fab. Loads of pressure on David to start a channel. Okay, let's have a look. I don't remember that, Simon. How drunk was I? I think you'd had a few. You weren't falling down drunk or slurring your words, but you'd been out for the night and you was... I thought it was a video, but it can't have been. It must have been a glide, but it seemed to be a long walk home for you. But you might have done it in segments, but I enjoyed it. It was nice seeing the city in the background as you were walking home. I actually got the fear about doing vlogs because it would be impossible not to get other people in the videos, and I'm worried about GDPR. No, that's... the law allows you to film in public. If people get in your videos, that's... I used to watch, then they started getting really annoying, some what they call auditing videos where they'll go and... but you do learn a lot. Or drone. I like to watch drone videos as well. And you can, in the UK, film in public. You have a right to film in public. And there are people there that like, I don't want being on camera. And it's like, well, sorry, you've just walked in front of my camera. The law protects me, you know. So GDPR doesn't apply in the street. So you don't have to worry about that. I mean, if I was filming in Glastonbury and somebody said to me, excuse me, I really don't want to be on your video, then I'll do the decent thing and I'll blur them out, you know. So what camera do you use? I just use an iPhone in cinematic 4K. So that's what I use for my recordings. I have thought about getting a what do they call it, a little GoPro type thing but I don't know. You have to use memory cards, and then you have to work out how to get them from the GoPro to the laptop, whereas everything on Apple. Where are we? Does it surprise me? Looking for capitals or tags. Okay, I can't see any tags or capitals. So third and final one is how has this changed over time? As in, you know, in terms of what I like to watch, what I like to make, and everything else, or how much time. So it's kind of bringing it all together, but looking at how that might have changed. So a lot actually has changed over time. when I discovered YouTube, 'cause I knew of YouTube, but I didn't really know what it was. It was just, to me, another social media platform that people just put. I imagine it to be like what I think TikTok is now, 10 years or so ago. I didn't know that you could um, do lives or anything like that. I just thought it was just people putting up shorts and things like that. So when I discovered YouTube, it was through the tarot community. All I watched on YouTube, the only time I ever went onto it, was to watch tarot content. And that was it. So all these other things that I mentioned, like podcasts and vlogs and reaction videos, and never was part of my viewing on YouTube. That's something that's probably happened more in the last three to 4 years. And also because when I did start creating content, I started to get quite a nice circle of in real life friends. I mean, I'm really fortunate in the amount of people that I've actually met in real life through creating content on YouTube. Many that are in the chat now, but that felt really alien because people didn't do that. From we started doing tarot meetups and things, but the first person I ever met was Kelly Bear back in 2018, and I'd had a channel for a year then, and I just remember that real surreal moment of meeting another YouTuber, and then we did a video together in Kelly's kitchen, and people were like, "Oh, this is really doing my head in, seeing Simon from the Hermit's Cave with his usual backdrop in Kelly's kitchen." And it was a real unusual thing. I couldn't think of anybody else in the tarot community who had ever met up. And then obviously, I met other people along the way, Becca, Sandra, and I mean, there's that many now. Over the years, I met Giselle, Dan, when I first went traveling around, and from then, I've met Richie, I've met Robin in New York, and Jen and Elle, and just so many people, and people that I class as friends that 10 years ago didn't even know existed. So it became a real big part of my world, and it was around tarot content. And because I was making content, which I still am doing, obviously, but making content and watching content, and a subsequence of watching that much tarot meant that my collection grew as well. That was it. So in terms of how it's changed, I've then started to realize that actually YouTube, there's other interests that I've got that I can also add to my viewing, which I've already mentioned. So it's more broad and varied now. The content I consume on YouTube. And I think this tag is about balance. I think I've got a healthier balance as well, because the first couple of years, certainly, that I discovered the community, that would be the only thing I watched. I think I went weeks without even turning the TV on, because it's like anything that you find new, that I would, because of where I worked, I didn't drive then. I would get on the bus and I'd get up and I'd be watching content. I'd be on the bus and I was watching tarot content. My break at work, watching with my earphones in, watching tarot content. Bus home, and the same in the evenings. And it was quite all consuming. So I think I found a healthier balance now, because I will, like I said, if it's a Sunday afternoon and I fancy popping a film on, I'll go and see what films I've got, or I might nip downstairs to HMV and pick up a film. I can switch off from it, or I can also look at a video and think, actually, I'm not going to watch that because it doesn't appeal to me. And I know that the person, I used to feel that I'd got to watch everything that everybody does, and that's not the way it is either. If it's something that doesn't appeal to me, then I don't watch it. It doesn't mean I don't like that content creator. And I recognize that, I put out a lot of walkthrough videos. I certainly don't expect people that follow me to watch all my content, because there's ain't nobody got time for that. But what I think happens is people look and think, okay, so let's have a look. He's doing a walkthrough of Le Court. Well, I won't mind having a look at that. I'm thinking of getting a Le Court, and they'll watch it. Or they might look at that and think, well, I've got Le Court. Why would I want to watch that? And that's how it should be. That's right. So there might be something I see and I think, yeah, I'll watch that. Or it might be that actually I will watch it because I really like that, how that person views certain things. So I'd be interested in hearing their take on it. But I've got that healthier balance where I don't have to consume everything. I can take my time and decipher what I want to watch. You can now cast YouTube to the TV and have the best of both worlds. This is true. But again, because I do that, I keep saying do. But then I don't always comment. And I was talking to somebody today and I was like, yeah, I watched that. And I thought to myself, I bet they think I don't watch because I've not commented. And we do feel a compulsion sometimes to leave a comment just to show somebody that we've watched it. And we shouldn't really have to do that either. Because we've watched it. Do you know what I mean? And they've had the view and they've had a thumbs up, and we don't. I sometimes struggle with channels that will say, "Don't forget to hit the like, leave a comment." I just think I'll leave a comment if I feel I've got something to say. I'm not going to leave a comment just to say I've been here. Like, here's my tag, to show you I've been. So I don't know what's your views about that, because it is one thing that I've been conflicted with over the years, where I feel I should leave a comment so they know I've seen it, because that's the only way someone's seen it, because a thumbs up doesn't tell who's thumbs up. They got rid of thumbs down, didn't they? But do you leave a comment because you genuinely have something to say, or do you sometimes feel that you should leave a comment so that people know you've been there and watched? I don't know if that's ever been asked before. Just looking back to see if there's any Giselle's going. Bye, Giselle. So it's about casting. Chris is jealous about something. I'm not sure. Oh, shortbread. Oh, don't talk about food. I've got a nice chili in the slow cooker. Yes, view and thumbs up at least, even if you don't comment. I only really comment if I have something specific I want to say about. Good. I only leave a comment when I have something to say. I still feel guilty when I'm in a chat and I've watched a video but haven't commented. I feel like it's kind of like walking past a friend on the sidewalk and not saying hi. Yeah, I get it, and I struggle with it myself, but it's not always possible, and sometimes, if it's a discussion, and this isn't so much tarot because you need to look, but, if it's like a podcast, that one that I mentioned, but it's on YouTube, I'll have that on in the car as I'm driving because I can just listen to it. You can't leave a comment then. So, Care Bear says, yeah, not every time, but usually always thumbs up. Robin says, I sometimes want to just comment seen to let you know I've watched, but I don't have more to say than that. I think you've done that on mine before, Robin. I think you've put a comment saying, just leaving the CC to know that I've been and watched it. Yeah. I'll leave a comment to support the channel if I like the creator because YouTube promotes channels that gets more engagement from comments. I'll leave a comment if I'm moved to do so. If I feel strongly about something, I will comment. Also, will comment to support friends. I actually don't mind channels that say thumbs up, comments, and sub. I don't even mind people plugging their stuff. People need to make a living, and that's all it is. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there we are. Nearly 25 past already. That took longer than I thought. Cathy, I hope I answered them okay. I know it's probably wasn't as succinct as perhaps, but I'm not a succinct person. But yeah, I hope that that helped you as a new content creator thinking about the balance of things. So I hope you found it useful. If anybody out there is a content creator and you wanted to respond as well, then use the hashtag that's in the title, hashtag TarotTube Creator Balance. Then I can watch as well because I would be interested in hearing your views. And just so we remember for people come in, if you want to give a sub to Nothing So Strange, who's the creator of this tag, the lovely Cathy, then there's her channel. It'll be great to see that channel grow, and check out the shop that she manages. It's wonderful. All right, let's pull a tarot tile. See what our card for the week is. So the card for the week is about we post it in the Hermit's Cave Facebook group, and then people share their favorites of that card. What I did want to say, because we've had a lot more people aren't added to the group than are. There are, because it's a closed group and we need to think about people's safety and privacy, and there are a set of questions. They're very quick to do. You say you agree to the rules, you answer 2 questions, and then myself or one of the admin will let you in. If you don't answer the questions, we can't let you in because you could be, for all we know, a spam account. So if you've tried to join in the past but you didn't answer the questions, that'll be why. So do feel free to try again, but please answer questions and then we can let you in, and then you can take part in this activity we do each week. Oh wow, we have the 7 of Cups. Have you seen Heather was gifted a set of these by Jamie Sawyer? She's got the hectagonal ones. But anyway, this card can have quite a few different meanings, can't it? So our message for the week is let's not get taken up with the things that are on offer where there might be an abundance of things. So I think it's very easy to fall into the trap. And the reason why I'm going with this is because when I get this is something I have to remind myself of quite a lot, which is I have got the personality where I can overindulge. No shit, Sherlock. And I've had to try and rein that in a bit. Just because there is something there doesn't mean that we have to consume it all. And this is quite good, actually. This fits in with the whole balance thing that we've been talking about. I think it's really important that we focus on what we need, not necessarily what we want. Now, I think it's also healthy if we want something and we've got a genuine reason why we want it, then we should have it. Life is short. Why should we deny ourselves? But this card warns of the potential pitfall to having the abundance, wanting things can then bring on that sense of overwhelm. Okay, so do we do it? What we have to ask ourselves, what is the reason that we're consuming for? Is it because we've got a need to fill? If so, what is that? And is what we're consuming in abundance serving us, or is it hindering us? And like I said, sometimes I feel like a bit of a hypocrite giving this sort of message, but it is something that I'm constantly working on. Hence why now I'm buying one deck a month. And if I get to the point where there's nothing I want to get that month, I won't get it. I won't do it just for the sake of it. But when I pull this card, I often think about, the fact that just because something's on offer and is available, why am I getting it? What is the reason? What need does it fulfill? Is it a want? Is it just a desire? Is it the fear of missing out, that FOMO? Or actually, will it serve a purpose? Will it benefit me? Because we can easily fall into that trap of overwhelm, and then therefore it becomes an issue. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here, for taking part in the chat. It's been lovely. Like I said, it's part of the week that I absolutely love. So thank you for your time and for being here this week. And I won't be on next Saturday. Next Saturday, I'm going to London to the Warburg Institute for the tarot exhibition. I forgot what it's called now. Is it something like, not Journey Through Tarot, Tarot Origins, I think it's called. Soon tell you. Now, I don't know if Sandra's seen it, but I left a message, Sandra, saying, can you film in there? Because if we can, I'll do some vlogging and show you some of the decks that are on in the exhibition. But yeah, and then I'm going to meet up with Sandra for some lunch and perhaps go to Watkins. So my train won't get me back into Nottingham until around 8 p.m. and then I've got to get here, so it won't be till about 9 p.m. So I won't be on next week. Keep mailboxes. There we go. London. So, Warburg Institute. It is called. You think I'd know this, wouldn't you? Tarot Origins and Afterlives. There we go. All right, everyone. Thanks for being here. I will be back tomorrow and in the week because I've got a couple of decks still to review. So, take care. Until next time, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.